Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodi. I'd like to welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about The Siege of Asgard. It's a fantastic crossover. Back when it came out, I was like getting a little bit tired. Marvel was pumping out crossovers every year or every other year. And I was getting like a little bit of fatigue because of these massive stories. You would have a ton of Marvel titles just building up these stories during the year or two. And you would get the massive event, and then you would have a big shakeup in the Marvel status quo. After the event ended, you would have like a new direction where all the titles would go in. But this would happen every year, every other year. So they would never let things to settle. And I started getting a little bit of fatigue because of that. But this crossover, it's really worth it. It ends the whole Dark Reign era of the Marvel Universe, where Norman Osborn was in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. You had the Dark Avengers. Basically, everything was flipped upside down. The villains were in charge. The heroes were on the run. We have Asgard floating over Oklahoma. And at the beginning of the story, basically what happens is you have Loki. He's trying to convince Norman Osborn that he has to deal with the situation with Asgard. Can't be flying over part of the United States. These gods can be a liability for people here. They're a true danger. I don't remember what were Loki's motives, why he was pushing for this agenda for Norman Osborn to deal with Asgard. Obviously, he wants to take control and all that, but I don't remember what was really driving him, why he wanted to get rid of Asgard in Oklahoma and all that. I have to go back, because this happened way back in 2010, so I don't remember very well. But the thing is, Loki pushes Norman Osborn, and what he does, he sort of orchestrates a whole situation where Volstagg goes out into the world. He wants to be a hero. He ends up with this tremendously powerful sword that, for sure, this sword ended up in his hands because of Loki, because he wanted to set him up for a whole situation. So what happens with Volstagg, he tries to stop a crime. The UFOs crash the party. They're part of the initiative. They're with the Hood. So they attack Volstagg. And what happens is when they shoot at his sword, which is a mystical blade, it just blows up a whole stadium. So we sort of get the whole Stanford with the school thing with Civil War, but now with Volstagg in a stadium. Like when I read this, I was like, really? You're going to do this? It's like, Marvel, why are you copying yourselves? But the thing is, this whole situation is going to help Norman Osborn. Obviously, a shit ton of people died because of Volstagg's being super irresponsible, but obviously Loki's the one behind this whole situation. But this allows Norman Osborn to attack Asgard with Hammer and with all the superhumans that he has at his disposal. So the thing is, Ares finds out he's the Greek god of war, and he tells Norman, like, no, I'm not going to attack my cousins. There's a thing between gods. You're not going to, and another thing, I'm not going to let you. But what Norman Osborn does, and this is like a really important part of the story, is convinces Ares, look, Asgard has fallen under the control of Loki. You know, he's bad news. We have to get rid of him. That's where we're going to attack. So he pretty easily tricks Ares into attacking. And like, I forgot to mention, this story is written by Brian Michael Bendis and illustrated by Olivier Copiel. His art is just fantastic, and in all these issues, there's just breathtaking art. He really kills it, and it really delivers on the epic level of the story. So Ares falls behind with Norman Osborn. He rallies up the troops, and they're ready to attack. And here's like one of those moments, like Hammer. You have their helicarrier. All the villains are flying in. Dark Avengers. Like, look at this. This is awesome. Look, Ares is flying on a jet. This is so cool. And this is the first time we get to see Sentry just really let loose. And actually, the shit's going to really hit the fan. Like, again, if you haven't read this, don't let me spoil what happens, because this story goes in a direction. Like, in this first issue, it was like, okay, we're going to get a good battle, so on and so forth. I thought it was pretty predictable at first. So, Dark Avengers start attacking. And Sentry's so powerful, he just starts punching holes through Asgard, going left and right. Thor arrives to try to control the situation because he was exiled. Because I have to go back and reread that particular Thor run. It was really awesome. I don't remember anything from Loki's motives to why Thor was exiled from... No, actually he was tricked into killing Bor. That's what happened. That's why he got kicked out. Why Baldar was in charge. But when Thor tries to swoop in and take down Norman Osborn, Sentry flies in, tackles him. And he's attacked by the UFOs. We have Norman Osborn, Moonstone, who was Captain Marvel at the time. They all blast at Thor at the same time. It's this tremendous explosion. Thor is taken down. So as the battle rages on, Ares discovers, while battling Baldur, that he was tricked. This was a setup. Baldur is the head of Asgard, not Loki. Heimdall also tells Ares is like, man, you've been played. This whole situation is wrong. We didn't provoke this attack. What happened to Volstagg was also a setup. So at the same time, we have Maria Hill. That she's a total badass in this story. I normally don't like her, but in this story she kills it. She helps save Thor and rescue him because he was pretty messed up after that attack by Norman Osborn. We have Captain America. We have the New Avengers, the Young Avengers, and the Secret Warriors. And boy, I love that Secret Warriors run. So Captain America is trying to rally his troops to swoop in and help the Asgardians. But here's when things get really, really interesting. Ares decides to go after Norman Osborn because he tried to trick him. And when he tries, Sentry swoops in and we get this epic battle between Ares and Sentry. And Ares is like, hey man, we're friends. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And Sentry is just, he's too far gone. He's like, his mind is out to lunch. So battle rages on between both of them. And in just at one moment, Sentry just rips Ares in half. It's fucking brutal. I've never seen anything like this in a Marvel comic book. And I remember reading this just being shocked because I really liked Ares too. It's like, what? He's not coming back from that for a long time. They're not going to bring this back this character. And we start to realize that something is really wrong with Sentry. And that's something that if you were reading Dark Avengers, you already knew that something wasn't right with Sentry. Well, here's that confirmation that Sentry's starting to get totally unhinged. And the Void is just, he can't contain the Void anymore. So what happens after that? We have, this again, look at the arm. We have Norman Osborn in his Iron Patriot armor and his Captain America shield flying towards him. So, third part. We have Avengers, Young Avengers, Secret Warriors all arrive. They're battling against the Dark Avengers, Norman Osborn's troops, the Hammer guys, as Guardians. Things are just really going to hell. Thor trying to battle against Sentry. What Norman Osborn does, calls in the initiative, which is under the control of the Hood, so you get all these classic Avengers villains. Most of them are classic Avengers villains jumping into the battle. So what happens is, we also get Iron Man. He was out of commission. I don't remember what happened to him prior to this, but he gets his old school armor back, his classic armor. So what happens is Sentry just totally flips out and does something like, again, that was like the second time in this crossover that he flips out, starts punching holes through Asgard, and Asgard just collapses and falls apart. And like, look at the art. I remember reading this going, wow, that kicked ass. So that part, I remember that part blowing me away. Norman Osborn loses control over his armor because Iron Man jumps in, turns off the armor because the armor is his. Norman Osborn totally freaks out. It's like, you guys, you don't understand. I'm the one controlling Sentry. If I can't control him, none of you can. Like, I was the one keeping the Void at bay, so you just released all hell on earth. So the Void is totally out. Like, this is the only thing I didn't like about this crossover. We didn't get an epic battle between Iron Man and Iron Patriot, or Iron Patriot versus Spider-Man. That would have been like a little nice detail. You just get one solid punch by Spider-Man, and that's it. Because Norman Osborn was driving Iron Man crazy, so they should have you should have gotten payoff because of that. Not only disactivating the armor, but Spider-Man clocks him. But now they have to deal with Void, and things start to get really bad. Loki realizes his mistake. He's like, "Oh shit, I went too far. Like I had no idea Sentry was so dangerous." So he tries to give the heroes a hand, and the Void straight up kills Loki. You know he's gonna be back. Like Loki's deaths don't tend to last very long. And in the final chapter of the story, Iron Man uses the helicarrier, hammers helicarrier, and just straight up drops it on the Sentry. You get this massive explosion, and Thor gets in the killing blow. Sadly, they kill off the Sentry. They throw him into the sun just in case, and obviously this is not the last time we get to see him. He does come back, and this story was really awesome. It's a pretty quick read. You can blast through them. It's very well written. The art is really good. We get finally the end of the superhero registration that started with the Civil War. It's finally over. It's established here. The Avengers Towers get a new decoration, Asgardian decoration. On the top, you get the return of the big three. That's the big payoff of the story. You get Cap, Iron Man, and Thor back on the Avengers. Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Spidey, Bucky, Cap, Wolverine, and Luke Cage, all on the Avengers. So I do really recommend you guys reading this, even though I already spoiled it for you guys. So see you guys next time. Bye.